Y'all, what's up? We are back for episode 3 of Love Island All Stars. I hope this starts to pick up because right now it's a little dry. I'm gonna tell you that now. This cast, I feel like a lot of the people here are kind of like they give sub characters. I didn't watch the majority of these people's season. Well, actually, I didn't watch anybody's season but Mitch's. And a lot of these people are given like sub character, like secondary character roles. So hopefully they start bringing in some more all stars that are actually shaking the table and bringing the drama. But we're gonna get on into it. It's episode 3. If you are new here, please thumbs up the video. Please drop your comments down below. Let's get that engagement up. I want to talk to y'all, hear what y'all's thoughts are. And yes, subscribe too. That's most important. If you are new here, subscribe because I'm gonna be here for the rest of the season as well for Love Island USA and the games in the future. But yeah, enough of that. Episode 3, let's go. All right, so we get Chris. Chris is going up to Molly, pretty much trying to get her to come talk with him. And he's like pretty much saying, like, you want to try and do some flirty stuff that everybody's doing, like just kind of flirting with her, like subtly flirting, but like trying not to be super subtle. And it's funny because he's doing this in front of Callum and he's also doing it in front of Demi. And as we all know, Callum's ex is Molly, and Demi is essentially Chris knows that Demi's feeling him, so it's quite interesting seeing him do this in front of her as well. Because at this point, it's making it seem like Molly is his number one choice. So we also get Mitch. Mitch is talking to Harrison. If you are new here, I'm calling Georgia Harrison, and I'm calling Georgia Steele, because I ain't saying Georgia, and I'm not doing that too much because it's too many Georgias. But Mitch is talking to her. He's telling her that he thinks that she's attractive. He thinks that she's a powerful woman, and he was wanting to talk to her. And he said that he had knew of her before the show. He watched her season. She said that she went back and watched his season, and he was like, okay, well, what did you think? And she was like, you're kind of like blunt. Like, you say some things that you probably shouldn't say, which I think is funny. And she also said he didn't have much game, but she does like him. So she thinks it was a little bit odd that he was interested in her, but it's exciting that he was kind of nervous to talk to her. So most girls do want to hear that when it comes to a guy. Like, if a guy says that they're nervous to talk to you, that means they are actually feeling you. So we get another scene of Molly. Molly is giggling and snorting while she's laughing when talking to Chris. Another sign for dudes, like if a woman is sitting there giggling and snorting, chances are she feeling you too. But Chris is saying that he loves how she was giggling and snorting. And he says when girls typically snort when he's talking or making jokes, he wants to continue to do that because he wants to continue to be funny and continue to entertain him. And that's what you would want to do. But they're pretty much vibing. They're talking about their kiss that they had, the 3-way kiss that they had with Lewis. He enjoyed the kiss. He would have enjoyed it a little bit more if it was just him and her. He didn't like the fact that there was a man involved. And that's pretty much what it was. They were just joking. Like, you can tell they are starting to really start to feel each other. This might be a couple that could literally strike up. And I don't want to say go the distance, but they definitely are seeming like they might be the first couple to lock in. Don't know for the long haul, but they might be the first one to lock in. But we get Steele. Steele is talking to Anton, who we know Anton is upset, low-key upset, that she chose Toby over him. And he's pretty much telling her, like, yeah, when I kissed you, you seemed like you liked it, but you ended up going back to him. So it's like, is it good enough? Like, am I good enough? And he said he's not blind. He can see that she's still into Toby. And she says, yeah, she understands his position. She understood why he felt the way that he felt. And she said, like, it's comfortable with her. Like, her and Toby, they're comfortable. They know each other prior to the show. They kind of have some type of unresolved situation going on. And she said it just feels comfortable, but she understands. But it doesn't mean that Anton, cannot approach her, which is true because, like she said, she's not coming in here trying to put all her eggs in one basket, even though she is entertaining Toby. But I also see his standpoint in terms of, like, you don't necessarily want to really pursue somebody who looks to be already, like, giving all her attention that way. But it's too early. Like, it's too early to be getting upset about stuff like this. You gotta make your case known. Like, you gotta let these women know that you really want them. Apply pressure. Like, that's how you get a woman to want to be with you and want to drop that one, because you want to apply more pressure than he is. But we get another scene of Lewis and Demi. They're sitting there and he's asking her who he thinks that who she thinks that he's feeling. And she says Kaz, her, and Molly. And he agreed. He said that they have a strong vibe and he's 101,000,000% interested in Demi. And of course, she's sitting there giggling and laughing. That's one thing that I'm starting to notice about her. She likes to giggle. And whenever when she gets the attention from the dude that she really wants, she starts giggling. Because I was like, what are you giggling for? Because there's nothing funny. But She likes it. She said that he should have a little bit more confidence when it comes to approaching her. And she said in her confessional that she gets nervous around him. So that's a sign that she definitely is feeling him. But we also get Liberty. Liberty, who I said already, I do love Liberty. Liberty's entertaining. She's one of the ones that I actually like coming into this. She's telling Kaz that she's worried about Mitch, but she's trying to make sure that her past issues don't come into this situation with him, which could possibly be detrimental to their blossoming relationship. And Kaz tells her that she might be overthinking it because they're natural and they're organic with each other, which that can be true too. But considering who Mitch is, Liberty does have the right to question his motives. Because I would, because that's just Mitch. The way Mitch was on his season, that tells you everything about Mitch. But she also is putting all her eggs in his basket without trying to do so. But that's what she's doing. But they all headed to bed. The next morning, we get Harrison and Jake. They're pretty much meditating. Liberty, she's talking to Toby and Kaz, and she's pretty much saying the same stuff. She wants to take it slow with Mitch, but she really likes Mitch. Like, she wants to take it slow, but you can tell she really wants to like dive in. But because he's still trying to get to know other people, she wants to kind of be on that same level. But she wants to tell him her. You can tell she wants to tell him like, I'm really feeling you. I want to be with you, but she don't want to make herself vulnerable too early, which is smart. Don't do that. But she said she wants to keep it surface level, like because he's pretty much chatting with all the other girls, so she feels like that's what she needs to do, and that's what you do need to do. Don't get caught up putting your eggs in one basket, because the minute he decides to pick somebody else and you ain't made no connections, you dumped. But Toby is then telling him about how he and Steele gravitate towards each other, but they're still open to getting to know other people as well. Also, we get Demi and Mitch. Demi and Mitch, they have like a surface level chat. The stream, or at least the Daily Motion episode I was watching, kind of cut certain things off. So I don't know if I'm missing anything of substance, but I doubt it because these two, I don't really see too much substance going on. But we also get Demi and Cash. She's talking, pretty much saying that she's leaning into Mitch and Lewis. And she says that Mitch is really polite to her, and she can tell that he likes her, and she thinks that he likes her. And Cass is just sitting there like agreeing and like, yeah, okay, you might be right. But then we also get Harrison and Toby. They're talking. This was a funny conversation to me because they're talking about what made him not trust Steele, because he's pretty much saying that Georgia Steele and him, after the show, he built or at least gained some type of distrust in her. And Georgia Harrison is sitting here trying to figure it out. You can see she's trying to dig and trying to figure out what is the issue. You're not getting to the point. And he kept trying to go around it. He's smirking and laughing, trying not to say too much. And she kind of was like, was she texting other dudes? Like, did she do something? Did she go out? And he eventually said something along the lines of that. That's the thing with this cast. They're not really saying too much because this is the same thing that happened with Molly and Callum. But that's pretty much what was happening there. Molly and Chris, they meet back up again. Chris pretty much asks her for consent to mount her while he goes ahead and does a massage. They do it in the open. And of course, Callum is watching. And Harrison is there with him watching and asks how he feels. Georgia Harrison is messy. She's trying her best to, I guess, in my opinion, she's trying to stir some type of drama. She was asking him how he feels about it. And he's like, it's uncomfortable to watch because it's awkward. Like, but she was like, I need you to take the bull by the horns if you really want to be with her. Make it known that you really want to be with her. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But in this instance, you can tell Callum, it's like, we don't really know. Just like Marley, we can't really tell if he really wants to be with her or not. Callum does not know how to voice his feelings, honestly, and we'll get to it later on. But Mitch moves to talk to Demi, and when Liberty and Kaz, because they were right there with him, when they decide to walk away, he gets up and gets closer to her. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And Liberty knows, and she's trying not to show her feelings towards him because she feels that she's not his number one. And I hate to tell you, Liberty, but I agree. You probably are not his number one. I think Demi might be his number one. Honestly, I think Molly might be a number, or who am I missing? Georgia. Georgia Harrison might be a number two, and you might be a number three. Honestly, that's how I'm seeing it. But they're talking and stuff, and she's telling Kaz that she does not want to be in a triangle. And Kaz is like, what triangle? Like, why are you trying to make it a triangle? Like, you're doing too much. Don't overthink it. And I was like, Kaz, I see where you're coming from. You're trying to be a good friend. But, like, with Mitch, all those concerns are valid. Like, she has every right and kind of proof to kind of think that could possibly be what it's going to be, because that's what happened on their season. I think it was Whitney Abby, I want to say her name was, he was pretty much putting them in a love triangle too. So that was interesting. But Lewis and Chris, they're pretty much talking about how Callum and Molly are, and they think that they might be done because he's not really reacting when the other dudes are like approaching her, flirting with her. He's not really doing much to make them think that he actually wants to pursue a relationship with her. But Toby also is telling Mitch that he wants movie Mitch to come back. Toby wants the drama. Toby wants the chaos. And I want it too because they're not giving it. We episodes three episodes in of Love Island All Stars, and it's kind of boring. I'm not lying to you. But Toby tells him that, and Mitch says that he likes Liberty, but it's really Demi for him, and he hates hurting people's feelings. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. I could tell that Demi was his number one choice. So when they decide to recouple, this will be interesting. But the next scene, they're getting ready for the night. Jake ends up pulling everybody to the fire pit to let them know that he was there to find love. He doesn't feel like anybody there is going to find love, or at least help him get to that point to find in love with them. And he doesn't want to waste his time. He says there's nobody here for him and he's leaving tonight. Dude says he's boring. Like, I wasn't sad about it. They were sad about it, especially Liberty. She went to have a talk with him. She starts crying. He's pretty much telling her, like, it's okay. Be yourself. Like, I hope you find love. There's somebody here that probably will be here for you. And just, like, be yourself. Like, fully indulge yourself into that. So they're leaving on good terms. They say their goodbyes. He sits down with Maya outside of the villa. And she's asking him how he's feeling. He said that he feels good. He's just staying true to himself. And he took a couple days to realize that it's just not for him. He's not there. I mean, he's there to find love, but there's nobody there that he feels like he can find love with. And Maya asked, like, there could be somebody coming in and you might be having some FOMO when you go home and watch it. And he's like, yeah, I know, but, like, I just don't feel it. But she also asked how he and Liberty were. And he was like, it was good because they got closure. They're leaving as friends. So they got that. Whatever, bye. Next, we get Lewis and Demi. They're having a conversation, and Lewis is pretty much saying that he wonders how Cass feels. And I'm like, do you now? Because if you really wonder how she feels, why you didn't go ask her? Like, I haven't seen him pull her for a chat, none of that shit. But he tells Demi that she's at the top of his list, essentially, that's what he said. And she's giggling and laughing. She likes it. She's happy about it. Harrison is sitting there asking Anton about him coming in for Steele initially. And pretty much she wasn't his first choice. And she told him, like, you really wasn't my first choice, so I can't be mad at you about it. But they seem to be trying to figure out if they might have a connection. Kaz and Lewis end up finally having a conversation. And she's asking about his tattoos. It's kind of like surface level at first. And then she ends up asking, like, how he's enjoying his time in the villa. He's saying that it's a little bit different. He's liking it a lot more because he feels like he's grown more. He's in a different stage in his life. Kaz is not fully opened up yet because she hasn't really gotten that reassurance from anybody. She's pretty much let him know that she's interested in him, but it does not appear that he's interested in her. So, yeah, like I said, bring somebody in for her. I've said it the last 2 episodes. But we also get Callum and Molly. This is like the bulk of the rest of the episode. Somebody asked Molly if she still fancies him. I think it was Toby, because Toby and Georgia Steele are there first, but everybody else ends up migrating. She's giggling and laughing, saying obviously she's attracted to him because they've been in a relationship for 3 years. They just got out of the relationship. She said he's given her more compliments there in the villa than he did the 3 years they were together. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. And then he says, like, no, like, I give words of affirmation. And she's like, don't sit here and cap. Like, are you going to sit here and say I'm lying? I was like, okay, here we go. We might get some drama here. So he gets defensive about it. She said that she would gas him up, say, like, oh, you look good and whatever. Like, you look really handsome tonight. And he would say, yeah, you too. And I see where she's coming from, because in instances like that, with women, you have to shower your woman with love. You got to tell her all these sweet nothings. You got to let her feel like she is beautiful consistently. Because the minute you don't, she might start questioning you. She might think that you might be out here cheating on her. Little things like that with women go a long way in a positive or a negative way. You got to let these women know how you're feeling. And you got to show them that you really are still feeling them. Like, you got to put in, that's like with marriages and stuff. A lot of people think that once you get married, all the courting, all of that type of stuff stops. Like, you got to continue to make time for each other, have date nights, do stuff like that. So I see where she's coming from. But still and Toby, they're telling him, like, he needs to let her know how he's feeling. Because he was pretty much saying, like, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I still feel that for you, but, like, it is what it is. And they were saying, like, you need to let her know how much you feel about her. And it's like the lack of communication is the issue. That's what I'm gathering from this whole situation that they have going on. But they're telling him that he has lacked emotional intelligence. He needs to improve on that. He said that he isn't tapped with his emotions. And Molly starts laughing, telling him that when she told him that she loved him one time, he literally sat there and laughed in her face. I'm like, damn. And he's sitting there trying to deny it too, but still said, did you even address those issues with him? And she said, yes, I did. And apparently he said when she did, or at least she said when she did address it, he said that she was high maintenance. And she's laughing. And the laughs that she's giving are like condescending, low key. It's like, it's not a genuine laugh like, haha, that was funny. Like, it's a laugh like, ha, like, this is the type of shit I was dealing with. And then he asked, Toby ends up asking her if she still has her barriers up and whatever. And she said she ain't gonna lie, yes she do. She still got her barriers up. I think Callum might have asked her that though. But she said, yeah, I do. And then Toby ends up asking, like, have they even thought about getting married while they were in that 3-year relationship? And she said she did. And then she said that he didn't, but then she said that he did. Wait. No, she said that he didn't, but she did want to get married. And then Callum apparently told her that he wanted to focus on his future, which is why they might have ended up breaking up. I couldn't tell because they didn't really elaborate on it. But he said that he didn't say that. And then she said, so you telling me that I'm lying? So to me, it seems like he might be trying to end the relationship based off of him trying to get his career and his life together, which to her is not a big enough excuse as to why they're breaking up. So he said that we just argued all the time, and I never say that as an excuse, as a reason to get broken up with somebody. So they're passive aggressively arguing this whole time, and Callum is pretty much saying that they were having issues before that. Molly said, well, that's how I came across, a lack of communication. That was the main issue with her. So long story short, they finished that. Chris was lurking at this point. You can tell he came outside looking for her, and he found an opportunity to swoop and get her away. So he pulls her away from the group. They go sit up and talk, and he wants to know, like, where is she at with Callum? Like, what are you trying to do here? And she was like, okay, so what about it? And he said, like, what are your intentions? Like, do you feel like his intentions are to actually get back with you? And she said, I don't know. She said, like, until a girl comes in here and really, like, puts it on him, I can really see what his true intentions are because he don't communicate with her. He don't tell her what he's really feeling, and we can't really tell even from watching through the TV. But she said she won't know until that happens. And Chris says, okay, well, is he telling you that he's trying to get back on track with you? And she said, no, his intentions aren't clear. He hasn't communicated it. So Chris ends up telling her that women stare at men longer than 2 minutes, and if they do stare at men for longer than 2 minutes, they're going to fall in love. So he decides to play that on her, and they sit staring and gazing at each other, trying not to laugh. Long story short, they ended up kissing, and they kissed for a good minute. So it seems like Molly is trying to move on, and more power to her. If that's what she wants to do, then she's going to do it. But that's how they ended the episode. Tomorrow we get a new bombshell by the name of Josh. He was on season 1. I have no idea who he is. Hopefully he's messy because he said if he has to break up a couple, he's going to do what he got to do. So that's what we have to look forward to tomorrow. Pretty boring episode, honestly. Let me know what y'all thought. Please share the video. Please like the video. Please comment. And please subscribe. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.